disturbing but fun story. RFK Jr. says a worm ate part of his brain and then died inside his head. How are you guys doing?
I mean, I think it's badass that the worm died. That's like a Chuck Norris story.
Yeah, right?
You try and feast on me. This is what you get, you son of a bitch.
The worm died. Yeah. What is the actual Chuck Norris? Oh, yeah. Chuck Norris was bitten by a rattlesnake, and after 3 grueling days, the rattlesnake died.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Yeah. I love the Chuck Norris joke era.
Maybe we can make more for RFK if he's such a badass. Like, I want to know, how did he get the worm? So I got questions.
He also had mercury poisoning from eating too much fish.
Oh.
This is weird.
Was it the mercury that killed the worm?
I mean, what if it was?
Interesting. The best case for mercury poisoning
I wonder
kills
about
brain
that
worms.
same thing with like COVID. Like, is that going to kill the aliens when they come?
Right,
the ones that are trying to get us. Is that our immune response to them? Sorry.
The real conspiracy is that they made COVID in the lab to stop the aliens, and now the aliens can't land on Earth.
Right.
So does RFK? He's like an adventurer. So he's out there swimming deep, diving, and like, so you get some worm from excessive adventure, or was it the fish?
He needs ivermectin.
Yeah.
A dewormer.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what it's
Potentially.
for. That cures river blindness. But you got to talk to your doctor about what's right for you.
I really like this
Correct.
RFK guy. What do
I
you
mean,
like
he's
about him?
okay. You know,
I like that he's so honest.
I don't see him as being honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. I mean, his platform is vague. Like, what are his policy positions?
I don't know.
Exactly. He was for gun control a little while ago. Now he's been like, well, we got a Second Amendment. Then he was like, 6 months ago, he was like, I don't think we should ban child sex change surgery. Now he's tweeting, I think we should. I don't know what the guy is actually for, to be honest. I can respect his opposition to COVID mandate policy. That's based. But I don't know much else about him. And like, what do you get with Joe Biden? You know, he's a crackpot old buffoon who and we have this clip and we will roll it soon. He's reading the prompter and he says, there's a guy named Riley last name. He actually, because he's reading the prompter and it's just like, the guy's Ron Burgundy. And then with Donald Trump, certainly an imperfect gentleman, but look at his foreign policy. Look at the economy under his first term. It's a no-brainer.
Well, I think I'm going to vote Libertarian. Because if Clint Russell's really going to be on the ticket, I'm voting Libertarian.
Clint's cool. I like Rechtenwald. I don't know that I would. Rechtenwald's not my choice. If it was Dave Smith, I'd consider it.
100%.
Because Dave Smith, I just, with all due respect to Michael Rechtenwald, like Dave Smith is a good guy, good candidate, knowledgeable. I just think he'd do a much better job. I don't really see a point for the most part in voting Libertarian, especially what's interesting is RFK and Trump are expected, I believe they're going to be speaking at the Libertarian Party convention to try and win over Libertarian voters. But let me read a little bit about this brain slug thing. Because, part of me is wondering, maybe the worm is, taking over your brain. Here's what I love. They call him an anti-vaccine activist, which is just like a lie.
It gets more and more intense every time. They're like, he's an anti-vaxxer. He talked about not liking vaccines. Now he's an activist. Now he leads the whole world movement against vaccines.
But yeah, it's right. Anti-vaccine activist turned independent presidential candidate. Okay, let me tell you about RFK's position on the vaccine. He said, vaccines are great. I don't think they should be mandated. Like, that was the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's not anti-vaccine. So I think he was critical of COVID vaccines having to do with how they were rolled out. But they call him an anti-vaccine activist. This is what they do to everybody. It's like, you can come out and say, I've gotten 12 vaccines. I think vaccines are all wonderful. Maybe we should get a little more due diligence on this COVID one. And they go, you hate vaccines. So now they smear him that way. But they say that he reportedly said he began to experience cognitive problems in 2010. And then in 2012, his deposition showed he had initially feared he too had a brain tumor. In the record of his 2012 deposition, this was like a divorce? What was this? His divorce proceedings. And then it turns out they found a dark spot on his brain. He got a second opinion, and it was caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what if I were to tell you that RFK Jr. has offered to eat more brainworms? Would you say, surely, Tim, you jest? I do not. I do not jest. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, I offer to eat 5 more brainworms and still beat President Trump and President Biden in debate. I feel confident of the result, even with a 6-worm handicap. Okay, that was good. That was good. And I got Alex Bruesewitz, he tweeted, you're a nutcase. I get it, Alex, because Bruesewitz is like one of the best political marketing social media strategy guys, but this one's a slip up.
Dude.
You can't fight humor with an insult like this.
Did RFK just troll Brucewitz? Did we just find a better troll than Brucewitz? And it's RFK?
I feel like that's a little premature. One good tweet does not, replace a title holder.
And I wouldn't say he trolled Brucewitz. I would say, Brucewitz takes it very seriously that, Alex, of course, has been on the show several times, X strategies and things like that. I think he might run for Congress. But very loyal to Trump and the Trump Republicans, the MAGA Republicans. And so he's very effective at what he does. I just want to point this out. When I saw this, you're a nutcase. You can't go after RFK in that way. When he says, I offered to eat 5 more brainworms, we all know he's joking. I think the appropriate pushback would be like, Bruce, if I was Bruce, I would have responded with, this was pretty good, but man, that's like very serious that you have part of your brain eaten. Focus on the fact that RFK had part of his brain eaten. Don't just call him a nutcase, because that doesn't take away the joke he made. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's funny because the Hill was reporting today, one of the big issues facing the election is like if Biden or Trump were to have a major health issue, because they're arguing, they're both older, they're prone to more serious health risks than younger Americans. And now RFK, who for a little while people were like, look, he's so fit and he does all this working out. Now he's also like, oh, I have a very serious medical history too. Like, hope he's fine. That's great. His campaign said that he got the worm from traveling in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America during his environmental advocacy work. So, hypothetically, he's saying I'm not at risk for a relapse in brainworms, although he is volunteering to eat them. It's a whole ticket, or with the third party candidates. We're not offering a lot of healthy, strong men, it seems like. I mean, I don't think Donald Trump is nearly as at the level of health risk that Joe Biden is, but I've never considered a presidential candidate with a history of brainworms. I know, that is crazy.
There was a story that I think came out about an hour ago. It was supposed to, at least, and you guys might have to look it up, that there was a bunch of conservative, pretty pro-Trump influencers who were being paid by either RFK or someone close to him to be pushing him over Trump, to get people over. I don't know if someone can find that right now, but that might be why.
What was it about, basically?
It was about, I think one of the guys' names was Zach. I just heard this actually right before we came on, that it was going to come out, or maybe it just came out right before that. But it was about RFK. It was someone paying pretty conservative online influencers to go after Trump and to say that they're ditching Trump for RFK to try to win those swing votes.
See, I think this is just sort of a misdirection. Like the fact that his entire family came out and was like, he should drop out because he's hurting the election, and they're all Democrats. We know who RFK is sort of pulling voters from. And it's maybe there are some conservatives or maybe some more independent leaning, people who would occasionally vote Republican, but it's obviously the Democratic base that is now looking at Biden being like, I don't think I like you. I've even heard some in interviews be like, well, Colonel West? He's looking better and better every day. I mean,
Alan West?
Cornell
West. Thank you.
He'll take the far left. I don't know would RFK take the far left? I mean, the people who are really upset, the Gaza protesters, like they'll go to Cornell West or someone.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would go to.
I think they're trying to make sure that moderate independents don't go Trump. So right now, unregistered voters are leaning towards Trump. You register a voter, higher likelihood they're going to vote for Trump. With independent voters, Republicans typically, as a party, are smaller than Democrats. So Republicans rely heavily on independents. This is why Scott Pressler's work has been so massive, because now he's flipping the script. The Republican Party is outsizing the Democrat Party in many of these places, which typically means you're going to get more Republican votes. I think RFK Jr., strong possibility, he is the shadow campaign.
Yeah, ooh, that's an interesting concept.
Yep. So what he serves as for the Democrats, his whole family, they're all Democrats, and they're like, oh, he's bad. To make it, they want an anti-establishment, middle-of-the-road guy to capture as many independents as possible, hoping that Democrats can ballot harvest the rest. And then what happens is Kennedy may pull more from Biden among independents. That's true. But Democrats are relying on ballot harvesting, so they don't care if they lose the independents so long as Trump loses them too. And the ballot harvesting pushes them over the finish line.
Yep. We talk on the Best Political Show with Luke Rudkowski, Clint Russell, and Stephanie Marie. We talked a lot about the vaccine mandates, like Trump, and how we need to see RFK and Trump debate, because like as I was driving up here, I saw a big billboard that says "Make America Great Again," and I was like, "Make America Great Again." Is that what we did in 2020 when we rushed this vaccine to market and encouraged greatly at the threat of people losing their jobs, people to take it? Like that wasn't great, in my opinion. That wasn't.
Your criticisms are like Governor Wolf and like
or like a
Cuomo
president. Like we need a president that's not going to let that happen. And I don't see
how would the president stop that from happening.
Well, they don't rush it. They don't take credit for a program called like Warp Speed.
What's wrong with Warp Speed?
They pushed a vaccine that was untested to market.
So
you're supposed to test them for like 5 years. So it hurt people, a lot of people. Like this AstraZeneca one just got recalled.
That wasn't ever in the United States. And
Thank God.
And the issue is if a medicine is available to the public and the public has a choice, who cares?
Well, they didn't really have a choice. That was the problem, is that businesses were mandating it. And
your complaint is with Democrat governors and many Republican governors who eventually pulled off of it. This is this narrative that Luke loves to push because he just, I gotta be honest, as much as Luke's a good friend, I feel like he's only saying this to try and keep up his libertarian bona fides.
No, I don't think it's just the governors, though. Although a lot of it is on the states, the president is the moral leader of the nation. And if the president's going to give a green light to a bunch of vaccines that are rushed out, then the governors are very much more likely going to go for that.
That's an excuse.
I don't think so, man.
You
need a president that is
authority.
vocal about the dangers of rushed vaccines.
But okay, you're talking about two totally different things. And this is, again, it's like, first of all, whether or not something is approved or disapproved or safe or otherwise has nothing to do whether it's rushed or not. Although rush does confer, there may be a greater risk because we're hoping that when we're bringing a medicine to market, it's been tested thoroughly and effectively. Donald Trump approving medical research has nothing to do with Cuomo putting COVID patients in nursing homes and shutting down churches and forcefully mandating people to take a medication. It has nothing to do with Newsom not wearing a mask while mandating masks. And then Trump comes out and says, I think it's wrong, but I can't do anything under the 9th and 10th Amendment. The governors have full authority. But then red state governors said, we are not going to do this. We're backing off of this.
If he hadn't rushed it, then there wouldn't have been a medicine to mandate.
Look. This is, again, making an excuse, in my opinion. Whether or not medicine gets rushed, name 3 other medicines that have been brought to market in a quick speed.
It's not that common.
Well, the only issue you're concerned about is that the government of blue states mandated it, right?
Well, I'm also concerned about Warp Speed that Trump's still taking credit for, and it's nauseating.
And he should.
Or you think it was a good thing?
Yes.
You think that warping that out was a great thing?
100%. I think
Really?
that a president facing a pandemic saying we should fund medical research is a good thing.
Well,
I think people then have the choice whether or not they want to participate in a vaccine that was brought to market through something called Warp Speed.
But they didn't fund the research. They funded it like zapping it out into the public.
So if your concern is that blue states gave guaranteed contracts to Big Pharma, you're talking about something different and blaming Trump when all Trump did was take credit for a program to fund medical research. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.